Hi everybody, welcome back to Fountain Pen Deluxe. We are here today to talk about the Louise Carmen Honoré, and I'm excited to show you all of the inserts that I've found and how I am using these now that I've had a chance to really live in them and get to understand a little bit more how they might work for me and my planning and journaling life. So I thought that we could talk about the Honoré, what it looks like, how it comes from Louise Carmen, what fits, and how I'm using it, and tentative plans for 2026. So let's get started. The first Honoré that I purchased was this beautiful fuchsia Honoré. Once I saw this color, I just couldn't say no. It came with the blue cord, the front gris-gris, and the side gris-gris from Louise Carmen. And I also opted to purchase a Jack portfolio when I purchased this Honoré. This portfolio adds more storage and a pen loop to your Louise Carmen. I think it might technically be made for the Road Book, which is another medium-sized notebook cover that Louise Carmen offers that does not have a pocket built into it. And I don't think it has a pen loop either. But a lot of people opt to get the portfolio for their Honorés for additional organization, and of course it looks really pretty peeking out of the cover. They are a little bit expensive though, almost the same price as the cover itself, so just a heads up on that. The Honoré is basically one piece of vegetable tanned leather, and the leather is very, very fine, very flexible. It patinas very quickly, and then on the inside there's another piece sewn on to add a pocket. The Honoré has 2 sets of rivets, which means that there are 4 elastics inside, so you can fit up to 4 notebooks and more if you use the rubber band trick. And of course, you can add all of the fun personalization that Louise Carmen offers, embossing in neutral, or they offer colors like gold or green, and you can even choose your cord color. One other quick note, the little flag here, I guess it is sewn on different spots on different Honorés as a personal detail. So on my fuchsia Honoré, it's on the front flap, which I love. And then on the whiskey Honoré, I didn't notice until after recording my video, but it's on the back pocket flap. I like it on the front because you see it more, but yeah, somebody in my comments said that she called Louise Carmen and they said that it's a detail that kind of moves around, so it's something else that's specific or personal to your journal, so that's kind of cool. Anyway, when you order from Louise Carmen, you get the notebook cover, you get to choose a dust bag. They have so many different prints and types. They're retiring them and releasing new prints all the time, so that's fun. And I actually use these quite a lot to protect my covers. And then you also get to choose 2 notebook inserts. Louise Carmen has a few different options to choose from. So these are an A5 Slim size, and you can choose black paper or lined or plain. They do not have grid as of the time that I'm recording this. I chose, actually, I have a fair amount of black notebooks because I'm doing a kind of ephemera mood journal. I thought this paper would be really nice for that because it's kind of stiff and a high GSM. But yeah, so you get 2 of these, and that's your order from Louise Carmen. So of course, A5 Slims will fit in the Honoré. Everybody knows that. The question that I had was whether an A5 standard would fit, because I have so many A5s in my stash, my notebook stash, and I want to be able to work through them. So that's really what I was wondering about before I purchased the Honoré. But before we get into A5 standards, I'll just talk briefly about A5 Slim options. Just like with the Ernest, the easiest and most affordable option to find is the Moleskine Cahier. It's almost the exact size as the Louise Carmen. It's a tiny bit wider. Black cover. They offer grid, plain, lined, anything you can think of, and it has a little pocket. And I found the paper quality to be pretty good, so that's a solid option. And then, of course, the classic Moleskine notebooks that we all know and love, or at least know. Hardcover or softcover, they both fit, and let's compare it to a Louise Carmen. The hardcover is, again, just slightly wider, but these fit nicely in the Honore, and they're so easy to find. You can get a 3-pack of the Cahiers on Amazon for $10 or $12, and I found the Moleskine classic notebooks at Barnes & Noble, and I think they even sell them at Walmart now. So those are an option. As far as fountain pen friendly paper goes, a little bit harder to find A5 Slim, but luckily more companies are coming out with them recently. I know that Stalogy came out with an A5 Slim this year. My two favorites are Sterling Ink. This is an A5 Slim 517 page notebook with Tomoe River paper, the new Sanzin. It's lovely. I love Sterling Ink, and so that fits really nicely in there. And then Jibun Techo does an A5 Slim notebook. So if we compare it to the Louise Carmen, it might be even just a touch. No, it's pretty much the same. A5 Slim. I don't think this is Tomoe River paper, but it's definitely beautiful paper for fountain pens. So that's a great option. It's nice to have a little slim notebook with the rest of your journals and planners for to-do lists or special interests or tracking and things like that. These are great. You can get these from JetPens and other stationery shops that carry Japanese stationery. So let's get to the elephant in the room and talk about A5 standard notebooks. I have here my notebooks that I gathered up to try, and right off the bat we have two different Stalogies. We have the full year and the half year. Let's see if the full year, let's see how that looks in the Honore. So of course it's going to fit top to bottom without an issue because it's an A5. When you compare an A5 Slim to a regular A5, the height is the same, it's just that there's more width, maybe like an inch or so. But as you can see, it fits without any problems, and you can even add the half year in, and that would still fit. I guess when you look at my dripping Honore, you can see that I've really chunked it up, so it can hold quite a lot. Let's see what else we have here. We have a Hobonichi Cousin. This definitely fits, and there's room for another little notebook if you wanted to. You could pop in an A5 Slim if you wanted to add some more paper, maybe even two A5 Slims. Yep, there's an A5 Standard and A5 Slim. I was even wondering if my A5 Hon would work because I have this beautiful little house Hon. This was the one that had the magnificent paper. Hobonichi knocked it out of the park this year. And I wanted to know if this would fit in here, and it just fits. It's really the top to bottom that was concerning me because it does have a cover which adds a little bit of length, but it fits and it closes, and I think that that would be so cute. We have a really chunky Midori notebook with the beautiful Midori paper, and that fits. So not to belabor the point, but you can see that you can fit a pretty chunky A5 standard book in here. I rubber banded two notebooks together to show you how that works in an Honore, even though I went over this in my Ernest video. But this is my preferred way to add notebooks to a traveler's elastic system because they just sit so nicely and they flip so nicely, so you can easily get to the notebook that you want. So there we have two very sizable notebooks, the Midori and Life Noble Note, and they're sitting in there perfectly without any problem. A few other honorable mentions. I think that some good additions could be the Hobonichi A5 memo notebook. It's super slim, has beautiful paper, and this could be a really slim addition to a journal layout. Again, if you wanted a notebook to track something. I keep one on me for to-dos and just random thoughts that come into my head. Also, Plotter. Plotter has such beautiful paper, and they sell their paper in these notebooks that have the pages so that you can easily tear out the paper. But actually the pages are pretty in there. This adhesive is pretty substantial, so this could be a good option if you wanted to have something that you could tear pages out, or just something that's kind of slim. Plotter could be a good option. Lochby makes an A5. I mean, so many places make an A5. This is a really slim A5. And then I was just thinking that, you know, if you wanted to do planning and have a pretty substantial journal in your Honore, what I was considering actually for this year is perhaps going to an Avec, which is a half-year cousin, because then you could have your planner in here and you could have a bigger notebook for maybe you keep your planner and your journal separate and that's your preference. But if you use the Avec, then you would be able to have those both in your book like that. What I think I'm going to use my Fuchsia Honore for this year, and I'm pretty excited about it, is the Hours 2026 Research Journal. I think that first of all, the vibes are immaculate, as the kids would say. It's so French or Parisian, and it matches the cover and even the band with the blue. So I think I'm going to be using that in here as my creative journal. The only thing that's giving me pause is that I watched a very disappointing paper test review from Simone, and I guess the Hours Research Journal for this year has really bad bleed through on basically every pen. So we'll see. I guess it wasn't like that in previous years, and they even came out and said that they would give people refunds, and they're not happy about it. They being Hours, they're not happy about the paper, and they are acknowledging it. But we'll see. The pages are just so cute. I was thinking that maybe I could just do stickers or like a little colored pencil drawing, and maybe I just won't use pen in here too much. Before we move on to what I'm currently using my Whiskey Honore for, I wanted to quickly mention the Jack portfolio. You can pop out the front cover like this if you have any gapping going on. The portfolio actually works out well for me because if you are using an A5 standard book in your Honore, you're going to cover the pen loop on the pocket. So adding the portfolio allows me to now have a pen in my Honore so that I can have one at the ready whenever I want to journal. Just a note in case you're on the fence about whether to get a portfolio. I think if you're using an A5 standard notebook, it might be helpful. Of course, you could always adhere a pen loop to something like I mentioned in my Ernest video, but just a note. So let's take a look at my Whiskey Honore, which I'm so excited about, and I'll show you what's happening in this crazy, crazy book. So I received this one fairly recently, and I haven't even been keeping it in the dust bag because just like I thought, the fact that it has dripping on it already makes me feel like it's used and broken in already. So I'm being 0% precious with it. And in here I have my B6 Sterling Ink Common Planner, which has been such a joy to use this year. And that's another great thing about the elastic system is you can put different notebooks of different sizes together. So I have the B6 Common Planner, then I have the Jack Portfolio in Blue Lagoon. I bought this secondhand from a wonderful person in the Louise Carmen Facebook group. And honestly, I thought I was buying the small size because I didn't read very carefully, but I like it. I think it goes nicely. I just have a small A6 folder from Hobonichi in here with some stickers and ephemera. Then next up I have a A5 Slim Jibun Techo to catch ideas and to-dos that come up when I'm doing my morning pages, which is happening in a Moleskine Cahier. Then we have the back of the portfolio, which has my Hobonichi stencil, which is like my ride or die for planning. And I also have some stickers that didn't fit in the other pocket. And then I don't have anything in this back pocket currently. But yeah, I'm really loving having this all together in this little package. I know some people don't prefer to have their planner in a trifold because it's kind of an extra step to open it. But I've always, even in Hobonichi, used bands or other things to keep my books closed. I just like them to feel secure. And I haven't found that the trifold or the band has been really bothersome at all. In fact, that's why I don't have a gree-gree on the front, which I used to, because it's much easier to just take the band on and off without a charm. So yeah, I'm loving it. And I'm not sure what I'm going to do for next year in terms of planners. I did purchase the B6 Common Planner for 2026, but the paper was not as good as the Hobonichi paper. So I'm thinking about pivoting and maybe using my Hon, the A5 little house Hon, or the A6 Techo, original Techo, which had wonderful paper as well. And I guess one thing that just came to mind that I forgot is in terms of adding different sizes of notebooks, there are a few other options I wanted to mention. Just like with the Ernest, it's just really the Traveler's standard size. You can fit the Traveler's standard size very nicely in the Honore. It's the same height as an A5, it's just slimmer than the A5 Slim. Here's the Louise Carmen insert, but it's, you know, nice to have a little booklet in here. And then of course you can use all of the fun Traveler's accessories, whether it's the clear folder for storage, craft folder, sticker release paper, and so many awesome companies are coming out or have come out with traveler-sized notebooks that have more pages, beautiful paper. I personally don't prefer the Traveler's paper, so this is Planner Monkey Co., and it's adorable and so cute. You know what's funny is I used to prefer, and I think I actually said in a video semi-recently, that I prefer to write on wider paper, like an A5 standard size and not slim. But I've been liking slim paper more and more recently. And in fact, with my journaling, I've been dividing my page in half and writing in columns because it feels a little bit less daunting. So anyway, Traveler standard size will fit. And you can even fit a Hobonichi Weeks in here, which is so cute if you're using it for health tracking like I am. And there you go. So I think that's all that I had today. I feel like I'm forgetting something, but if you have any questions, just leave them down in the comments and I'm happy to answer them. I want to do a video on my pocket-sized notebooks because I have some really, really fun planners and setups for those as well. So I will do that. I'll be doing a Techo Kaigi for 2026 soon, and I'll be sure to share that with you then. All right, well, that's it for me today. Thank you as always for joining me, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye.